Welcome, everyone, to Becoming Awesome, AWS's live stream podcast where Amazon insiders introduce you to the humans of AWS. I'm your host, Ray Thomas, senior recruiter from AWS's infrastructure organization, along with my co host, Jenna Last, principal recruiter. And whether you're watching this live and ready to engage with us in the chat or watching on demand later on, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. And today we have someone incredibly inspirational, given her journey both professionally, personally, and the resilience she has shown to recover and continue to prosper. I know that was a lot of words, but I genuinely mean it. And her name is Padma Iyer, Senior Customer Solutions Manager, and we'll bring her on camera very shortly. But first off, welcome back, Jenna. You were away for the last couple of episodes. Always miss you when you're away. How are you? And what's going on?
Recover on the topic of recovering. I'm recovering from COVID, so it's been beat down by the vid, but I'm resiliently back, somewhat feeling myself.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. Well, welcome back. I know it's going around again. I have some customers that I'm supporting that's dealing with that, and wishing everyone health and just be safe out there. So yeah. So I'm excited about this. You don't know Padma's journey, but then you're going to hear it live as well with everyone else. So let's bring her on. Hey, Padma, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Well, welcome
Ray
to
and hi,
Awesome.
Jenna.
So nice to meet you, Padma.
Yeah.
Likewise.
So Padma, just why don't you quickly introduce yourself for us?
Sure. I've been with AWS for 2 years now. It's always day one at AWS. I am a senior customer solutions manager supporting ISV fintech customers. As part of being a senior CSM, a large part of my role is to partner effectively with my customers and AWS teams to enable my customers in achieving their cloud journey and successfully adopt cloud solutions from AWS.
Oh, awesome. Welcome. I know we have multiple customer solutions managers on the show, and we know your leader as well. So uh, before we go into the role of a CSM and what you're currently doing with your customers today, you have a very inspirational story, personally, and it's kind of something that we deal with as humans, right? Sometimes life hits us hard, and it definitely hit you hard, and you came back, fighting, and here you are. So, do you mind sharing a little bit about that and what period of your career did that happen in, and what, and how you landed here?
Yes, Ray, thank you for asking that question. I was diagnosed with a congenital heart condition when I was about 4 years old. Growing up in India, there was very little awareness on how to manage the condition, and there was very little treatment or options available to address the condition I had early on in my life. Whenever in 2020, I went through an open heart surgery to address my congenital heart condition, and parts of my heart are from donors. And I had a very tough recovery course, almost a year and a half post my open heart surgery, several post surgical complications that eventually led to amputation of my toes. It's just been a, an incredibly long journey of constantly pushing boundaries, uh, being adaptable, and showing strength and resilience like no other. I joined AWS 2 years after this life changing event, and it's been an incredible journey since I've joined AWS. What some of the things that I really enjoy being at Amazon is that on one side, our culture is very peculiar with the long hours, high expectation, a constant drive for improvement. But on the other hand, I think AWS, it's also a crucible for personal and professional growth. The challenges are immense, but the rewards are also equally substantial.
Well, first off, thank you for sharing that. And Jenna, you said you haven't heard the story yet. What was going through your mind, Jenna, as you're hearing this?
Yeah, I mean, it's resiliency. It definitely stands out. I guess I have a question though. You sharing this with us, and yes, this is our professional show where we show the human side of our careers. So I'd love to just link how this experience has shaped how you approach your work and deal with the challenges that come up in work too.
I think this experience has shaped me in several ways. It's shaped my decisions. It's also influenced my behavior and how I deal with others, whether it's AWS or Amazon employees or my customers. For me, it's some things are personally, I never take no for an answer, which means I am constantly trying to be a better version of myself. I mean, through my recovery of 1.5 years or more, I constantly challenged status quo. I had to work with diverse set of healthcare professionals and blend each one's unique perspectives to push my own recovery and bring a better version of myself, right? And I constantly do that even at my workspace. I think, like, I think our leadership principles also are the core of our DNA, right? The Amazonian culture and DNA. Principles like customer obsession, ownership, and invent and simplify are well known, but to me, learn and be curious and dive deep, that's what helps truly foster a culture of authenticity and inclusivity. I um, applied similar principles, though I didn't call them that prior to joining Amazon. But I think that's what it really is: learn and be curious, dive deep, challenge status quo, seek diverse perspectives, and help the entire one team that you're working with bring their unique talents to the table.
Mhm. And did you know all that before you came here, or did you discover that when you were here?
No, I didn't know all that when I came here. It's just been in the last 2 years. A lot of these the culture and the leadership principles have resonated with what I have done in my own way, in a simplistic way. That's what I said, when it's learn and being curious. I had to go through a whole process of learning how I would walk um, in a different way, right? I mean, it required balancing myself, learning a different gait, adapting to different shoe styles, to just or even learning how to drive with, because due to limited sensation on my right foot. So it really required me to constantly learn, observe myself, and make incremental changes. So it's something that I did in my personal life, and I kind of, with these leadership principles being so strong and resonating and all pervasive throughout the organizations, I've just connected the two.
Mhm. And what are you learning about yourself today now that you've immersed yourself in this culture that you describe so well and identify with? Is what I'm hearing. How are these principles helping you shape um, what you're learning about yourself while being in this environment. I've looked at your LinkedIn profile. You've worked in several different environments. So I would imagine you've learned a little bit about yourself in each environment. So I want to zone into what you are learning about yourself here today in this environment.
For me, AWS has been one of the best things that's happened. And I was sharing this over a Slack message with Ray a couple of weeks ago. I think Amazon is a place where careers are made. The sheer size and scope of the organization means that there is an endless array of opportunities for us to explore. At AWS, I have had the opportunity to work on groundbreaking projects. I've learned new skills, whether it is AI, machine learning, generative AI, speaking opportunities, writing blogs, working with people who are extremely talented and smart. And it's also given me an opportunity to advance my career in ways I may never have found elsewhere. I also think innovation is a big part of Amazon's blood. It's allowed me to think big, take risks, and experiment. Couple of years ago, I would never have imagined that I would take up speaking engagements in front of a large audience. And this year, I was grateful to speak at the AWS LA Summit and the AWS NYC Summit. On based on projects that I worked on that were think big, pan Amazon, and big impact to both AWS, Amazon, and our customers.
Awesome. Can we talk about any of these Think Big projects?
I can share a little bit about them. The customer in itself is not publicly referenceable, but one is is partnering with Amazon co-branded financial products to combat fraud using cutting-edge AWS services such as Amazon SageMaker and Amazon Bedrock. The other one is an internal project wherein we are launching a data-driven way to measure customer health and drive improvements to constantly drive improvements for improving customer engagement, adoption of our services, and optimization of various AWS services. I think both these are, I've been fortunate to be a part of these innovative projects across that taps into multiple AWS teams and even Amazon teams during my 2 year career at AWS.
I want to ask, can you give us a little bit of insight, like what the process looked like for these projects, like maybe the internal one, right? Like, how did the idea start? Who did you go to? How do you go through? What did the whole process look like to build this project?
Yes, I think in Amazon, writing is a big part of our culture. I also want to say that in addition to writing, it's a culture with that fosters thinking. So it started with the internal project. It started with writing a PRF, co-authoring a PRF FAQ, which is a press release and a frequently asked question. Then socializing it at various levels within the organization to seek sponsorship and go ahead to prove a concept, and finally taking it to launch. It's been 18 months or so from ideation to launch, but that process has been very rewarding. Every time there has been, the idea is vetted, it improves, there is innovation, and at the same time, strong partnership and collaboration across the various teams to bring this idea to life.
Is 18 months typical, or do you say that as a that it's quick or that it's particularly slow?
I wouldn't say it's anything is slow or fast. I mean, to me, the pace at which AWS moves is incredibly fast. We are in a state of perpetual motion, and the ability to pivot, learn, and grow is also um, super fast. But it's over the 18 months we have fine tuned our vision, and we are in the process of delivering this. There've been series of deliverables. I wouldn't say it's the first launch is next month, but we've delivered an MVP, and then we've had incremental launches through this year. So I don't think it's slow. It's the nature of every project itself. It has its own phases.
Yeah, I had a thought on that because when I first joined and when I had an idea, trying to prove myself, and I saw how many steps I had to go through, I'm like, wow, there's a lot of red tape or this, that, and or like it may take it so long. Then I realized, as time had progressed and looking at these other bigger projects that did come through fruition, and when you actually try to see what went into it, there's a lot of work on the front end because of the impact it's going to make, at the scale that it's going to make, and you want to make sure you deliver something that is going to be, as optimal of a solution for that time as it can be. There's always room for improvement, and maybe the technology is not there yet, and it could continuously iterate and make improvements on something, but it's because of the blast radius, right? If you're gonna do something, you want to make sure that everyone it touches, they're gonna have a positive experience up front. So I think it just saves a lot of time in the back end, prevents a lot of prevents a lot of negative sentiment. But that's kind of been my experience so far. So yeah,
I agree with you, Ray.
yeah, yeah. Um, so let's talk a little bit about what you've actually, let's go back to like, so everything you mentioned so far, what's been something you're the most proud of so far? You mentioned you've done a lot of great things, but what are you really most proud of right now?
Um, Personally, I would think what I'm most proud of is I call this a second life and a second chance. I am very, very proud of the place where I am, where I have truly embraced myself. Um, I call some of the scars as battle scars. I am very proud of truly embracing myself and living a life where I am able to do almost, or I would even say more than what I did in my past life. So I'm very, very proud of that. And when I say doing more, is I think I've grown exponentially um, in the way I approach problems. I'm shaping decisions. I've
Mhm.
also become more mindful of my behavior, not just to myself but others around me, and I think I'm extremely proud about that. In terms of achievements, I'm very, very proud of my 2 year career with AWS. I think joining I joined AWS for the technology, but I think I'm here today for the people and the culture. Because technology is always evolving, and the last 2 years has been a fantastic ride. Not in addition to technology, it's been surrounded by the sharpest minds and a culture which is I love the pace of change and continuous learning and development. It's not just an option, it's a necessity. I truly love that about being in AWS.
I'm so happy you said that. At the same time, not surprised you said that. it's what we hear often. I think there's a lot of great tech companies out there. Definitely is. We're never going to deny that. A lot of them work with us. They either partner with us or what. But everyone comes back to the people here, right? Everyone says the reason why they stay here is because of the people and who you learn from or who you want to help. It's paying it, paying it back, paying it forward, right? So I think the people is what has been like the star of AWS. I mean, the technology is the comes out of them, but the people and how they think and how they are with each other in these like small little bubbles we call the land of 1,000 startups, right? They once you're a team member and you get to know them, you end up helping each other in ways you didn't think you would see in other organizations at times.
So you talked about how diverse our organization is, and even through your project that you vetted it out, and that helped to make for progress and improvement. So can you share with the viewers just a little bit more about this diversity of thought that happens here and how you personally approach understanding the perspectives of others that have backgrounds or ideas that are different than yours? So you come from a place of resilience, and that seems to be your superpower, but there are others that have very different superpowers. So how do you sort of navigate these differences of superpowers and to be able to leverage the best of everyone?
Yep. I think in Amazon, there are a number of affinity groups that I'm part of, and they play a crucial role in creating inclusive spaces where employees can connect with others and share similar backgrounds or experiences. In addition to affinity groups, I'm also part of TFCs, which is technical field communities. And these groups provide support, mentorship, and create that sense of belonging within the organization. Right? As part of these affinity groups and TFCs, I've had the opportunity to lead innovative projects, mentor colleagues, and find ways to make difference um, find way to make a difference to others in the organization as well. I think another big part is in the Amazonian leadership principle of have a backbone, disagree, and commit. And that helps promote an open dialogue and respectful debate. It creates a space even when you are in a project or an initiative, even if we feel it allows us to feel comfortable, share opinions, even if they differ from those of others or our leaders. And um, I've also been part of teams that have led volunteer events to give back to the community. I think with my team a few months ago, we packed food boxes for the LA regional food bank. And we always find ways to make a difference while bringing our authentic selves to work.
Awesome. Yeah, I see that you're also a member of Chief, which I believe is a network for women in technology. So that must be something that you are passionate about. And given your experiences and that passion, I'm curious of your perspective if you believe that Amazon is a choice destination for women.
It is. I think Amazon is a great destination for women because it's it is I in my view. I think there are number of opportunities for women to take on whether it's leadership, whether it is being an individual contributor. There are a number of affinity groups. I think Women at Amazon, Women in SoCal. I'm part of Women in CSM, which is and a core member of that. And all of these affinity groups offer mentorship. They offer support. They do a number of events to encourage women to and encourage women and create a safe space to share their challenges while helping them navigate some of the challenges that women face. I mean, using the collective power of women and sisterhood.
Thank you for sharing that. When it comes to these affinity groups, what have you found to be helpful? How do you work with those affinity groups? Like, are you mentoring anyone through there, or did you find mentors from there? How does that work?
Yeah, I'm mentoring through the TFC, which is the Technical Field Community. I'm mentoring I'm mentoring colleagues to become an AOD member, which is an area of depth member in a TFC. I'm also mentoring a colleague to understand the Amazonian peculiar culture and how she can build agency and become an advocate for herself through a program that was introduced earlier this year. I mentored two university students based in Europe, giving them cloud fundamentals and helping them take their cloud practitioner certifications. So this and in addition, I also have a couple of mentors. Um, One of the mentors I have is has a long-standing tenure in Amazon over 12 years, and I use him as a great sounding board and a trusted advisor on understanding the Amazonian culture. And I have another mentor who is an industry mentor, who has helped me and provided me a lot of content to build subject matter expertise on the industries that I'm working on, and helped me co-author blogs with him, and that helps building trust with not just the AWS One team, but also our customers. So I think the number of, I mean, you can have as many mentors as you had like, and I have two mentors whom I speak on a bi-weekly basis,
Mm,
and we define goals um, to navigate my career journey here at AWS.
What are
awesome.
some best practices that you use to approach being mentored and mentoring?
I think my view is, whether it's being a mentee or a mentor, it's important to have a vision and break that down into tangible outcomes. Um, so you're not just you are very clear about the outcomes that you want to achieve as part of the mentorship dialogue, and how you can approach that, right? So I think it's important to have the vision, work backwards from the vision, and break it down into tangible outcomes, and course correct along the way, right? I think the vision can change, the journey can change, but having that is important, and earning that trust and confidence along the way is very important too, because that allows for open communication and feedback and course correct along the way.
Excellent. Actually, we had a comment. You mentioned that you were helping folks with getting their cloud practitioner. Someone in chat right here. Hello from Chile. This is La Cremasa. Hello from Chile. Friday, I'm taking AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner exam. Wish me luck. Question for you: do you have any tips for them?
I would say use the AWS Skill Builder. There are a number of resources that gives you um, practice questions or the types of questions you can expect in that. I think there is also other training courses such as a Cloud Guru that
Mhm.
that gives in a lot of good videos to take the cloud practitioner certification. But beyond the certification, it's important to understand the technology,
Mhm.
um, and try to get a real work experience so you apply what's just on the certification to a real life initiative or a project or a work scenario.
It's awesome. There's also there's also other Twitch streams through AWS. One is like the Build On series, and also our training and certification team have their own channel as well here on Twitch, where they help guide you through the process. So, Lakramasa, if you haven't checked it out, do so. It might be helpful prior to taking your exam. So, great question. And then someone else had asked, Bug, is area depth AOD similar to subject matter expert as me? Just trying to figure what AOD means. I responded that's what it usually means, but am I correct, Padma?
Yes,
Jenna?
yes,
Okay,
yes.
good, excellent. All right. Um, so there was a couple of things that I wanted to share from the personal side, as you mentioned during your recovery, you had to go through some level of rehabilitation and whatnot, right? So talk to me about this. Let me actually bring this up. Uh, you actually learn how to paint. Am I correct?
Yes.
Paul.
So after my heart surgery, I was in the ICU for over 6 weeks, and 3 days I was in something known as ECMO, which is a very sophisticated heart and lung machine that just keeps the brain and the heart going. As a result of being in the ECMO and the ICU for 6 weeks, I had acute muscle atrophy where none of my muscles functioned, whether it was my fingers, um, my hands, my legs, my entire body uh, lost because there was no perfusion to except for the heart and the brain. And I went into cardiac rehab for almost 3 months, wherein there was 6 to 8 hours of occupation therapy and physical therapy to bring the muscle function back. And during that time, when I had to really give work to my fingers, I took on art as a way to bring the motor function, dexterity to my fingers, and that's when I started to discovered my love for art and painting. It was also very th- therapeutic. I now go attend classes and I take lessons from a teacher, and a lot of my painting is based on folk tales from India. That's where I grew up, and depicting some of these stories through my artwork. During rehab is when I really felt, um, creating something. The joy of creating something is extremely fulfilling, and I took on to baking, and I like to bake.
Your pineapple upside down cake.
Yeah, that's one of my signature bakes, and not something you would find very often in a cake shop or a pastry store. Yeah, so I like all things cake, and I can watch the Great British Baking Show. I don't know, countless number of times, and those are two of my passions outside of work.
So,
Have you
so
ever considered painting a cake? I have seen cakes that have some beautiful artwork, but maybe that would, after all that hard work, and then just eating.
Eat them. I should consider. I think I should. That's a great idea, Jenna. I need to. I should. I should.
It's interesting tying back to what you've gone through, saying none of your muscles worked, and this is all part of getting it back. And what you said in the very beginning of the conversation, that you're someone that doesn't take no for an answer, right? Like you just keep on going through. You look at some folks, and we might know some people in our life where kind of gave up at certain times, when others, they fought through and now changed their mentality, right? And now you're actually applying that same mentality when it comes to delivering for your customers, right? Trying to make sure that whether it's for your customers or whether it's for your peers or for yourself, personally and professionally, it's just another great human story of someone saying, yeah, I'm gonna get through this. Like the person that broke their back and couldn't walk for a long time, then now they're taking their first steps again, right? And that
Yes.
mindset shift takes you to a whole other place. What was that? What went through your mind the minute you started to get the sensation back and able to do the things that I know you said you're doing it a little bit differently, but what was going through your mind at that moment?
I think when I was in rehab, honestly, I had no hope because I also went into this very suddenly, like in matter of 6 weeks. I went from being an active, bustling mom, wife. I had a fulfilling career to move being in the ICU and finally losing dexterity. I even lost my voice for a few weeks because the voice muscles were had gone through atrophy as well. The only thing in my mind was that there's only me who can pull myself out of the situation, and I and I was telling you this, Ray, earlier that my daughter at that time was 8, and she was a strong motivation for me. And I was like, I need to be there. I need to fight for her, and I can take care of her only if I put my life back on the tracks. So that was a strong motivation that this I need to use all the inner strength and willpower with consistency, determination, and dedication, because there was no shortcut. It was I think almost 18 months to get my full functionality back, whether it is dexterity of my hands, my voice, walking, to driving. I mean, today, I can do everything I did. So so it was a long, tough journey of constantly adapting and not giving up with and a lot of support. I got a lot of support from my family members too.
Well, you put your oxygen mask on first, and um, boy, did that really give you a lot of power and resiliency. It's really amazing about medical technology, what we've been able to achieve, but it takes the strength of the human being, I think, also.
Yes.
Yeah, I think the mental strength is so important. I was actually, Jenna, you bringing that up. I brought my daughter to her retinal specialist yesterday. After 3 years, from 3 years ago when she was first diagnosed with Conrad dystrophy and losing her vision, I told the doctor, I said, you know what? As my daughter was crying, I said, no, we're doing crazy innovative things here at our company, Leah. Don't worry about it. You don't know where I work at. You're too young to understand what's happening right now. And I told the doctor right there, I said, give us 2 years. There's going to be a shift in the world. Guess what happened last year? You had the whole world of like generative AI coming out, right? And how people are actually looking at their data and actually getting information, et cetera. That's actually making a big difference in how they're looking to solve problems that they thought weren't solvable at times, right? And then when I saw a doctor yesterday, he's like, was I right or was I right? He goes, you're right. He goes, "You're right. I've been keeping up and looking at how the medical world has been changing due to technology and some of the innovation that's happening, and they're really, in tune with it." So it's fantastic to see, your journey from personally to now looking at what technology is out there that's helping the healthcare industry and others as well to get you through it. So it's just fascinating.
Have you been primarily focused on the financial services industry, or have you been
Yes,
kind of
large
more
part of
broad?
my career has been in financial services, but the first, I would say, 18 months while at AWS, I supported healthcare, life sciences customers like NextGen Healthcare and Agilon Health
Mhm.
at AWS.
Mhm. Yeah. Why did you switch?
So AGS Tech went through a reorganization into industry verticals earlier this year, and that was to align people based on their industry backgrounds, so we can be customer obsessed and continuously deliver exceptional outcomes to our customers. As part
Mhm.
of the org redesign, I moved into ISV FinTech.
Yeah. How do you stay up with that now? What do you do to keep yourself as a subject matter expert in that particular space?
Yeah, so I am an FSI TFC AOD member. So as part, which is the area of depth member, FSI is financial services industry. So as part of being a member of the TFC, you get access to um, a lot of webinars, um, content, which is white papers, blogs that are relevant to industries. So it's reading those blogs, being actively involved with the TFCs, wherein you get to understand what other customers or other companies in this space are doing and innovating themselves. So it's continuously learning and being curious, and diving deep to stay on top of what's happening. But the TFC is a great space to understand what's happening just beyond the customer and the industry as a whole.
Is your team hiring at all or no?
Yes, I think the larger customer solutions organization under Blake Chisholm are hiring.
Okay. And can you just quickly like dive into like kind of the qualifications that we normally look for or what our customers are expecting out of a CSM that's supporting them? Like what are some of the key traits that you're looking for both the technical to the soft skills and just like any other functional skills in general?
Yes, I can touch upon it. At AWS, a senior customer solutions manager or a customer solutions manager is a strategic advisor. We proactively guide our customers through their cloud transformation journey. A CSM collaborates closely with various AWS teams to ensure customer success. Skills would be leveraging deep technical expertise, strong program management skills to deliver exceptional customer outcomes. In terms of technical skills, having a good understanding of cloud technology, the various AWS services will be a great skill to have. In terms of other skills, I think displaying the ability to strategize, think big, uh, delivering results, ability to communicate proactively, and managing various stakeholders are some of the other skills that our teams also look for.
How technical do they really need to be? Like, I mean, I
In
think it's.
addition to knowing,
Oh, go ahead.
sorry, Ray, I talked over you.
No, 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 not at all. Go ahead. I was saying, like, how technical do they need to be as far as like you look at people that are, say, a developer, they need to be strong coders, etc. Right? Then you look at solution architects where they had to have had a pure technical background, coming up as maybe a sysadmin, an application developer, network engineer, and then moved into the architecture space. So they're very hands-on. So when it comes to the CSM, we know they need to have that program management delivery part, right? But from the technical piece, how technical of a background do they
I'll
need to
make
be?
an attempt to under
Yeah.
I'll make an attempt to answer that. I think in the recent years, based on my understanding, the CSM role is considered a tech role. So it is a unique blend of technical as well as understanding the larger business and product. It's always good to have technical skills because we are a tech organization,
Hmm.
and but the level of depth is what may vary. Then AWS has a path. I think there is the Embark program and various other programs wherein you're ever boarding, right? It's not an onboarding experience here. You're ever boarding to constantly upskill yourself. I mean, as we speak, I'm in this Gen AI specialty builder program this week.
Hmm.
Um, so we are continuously learning and building our skills while you're here.
What does that training look like? The Gen AI training that you're going through.
So it is a specialty builder. It's a 5-day program wherein you have deep dive labs on Bedrock. There's a little bit of introduction to Amazon SageMaker. There are also checkpoints on day 3 and day 5 to assess and gauge your level of competency on the program in itself.
Thank you for
You
sharing that.
are assigned a mentor for a period of a week that will who will guide and coach you.
Not sure. There's a little bit of a lag that I'm noticing, so I don't know if it's me or you, but that's great. Well, thank you for sharing that because I always talk about the resources here and the level of trainings that we have. It's I tell people if you love to learn and constantly develop yourself, the world is the world's your oyster here. It's like you could just do whatever you want, learn whatever you want, and just continuously upskill. But you got to take that ownership to want to do that and create, carve out that time to do so. It's better for you. It's better for your peers and your customers. I think it just benefits everybody to continuously upskill. So
And then shared learnings, of course, too.
yeah,
Like that,
yeah, a
to
billion,
simplify learning for others.
billion percent. So I know we only have a couple minutes left. I let the chat know, if they have any questions, please, now's your time to definitely ask away, especially if you have, anything that resonated with you, any questions you may have about the trainings, happy to share. But I also put in some of the links from our AWS training and certification team. There's also, if you want to learn more about the CSM role, if you take a look at our main landing page on Becoming Awesome, I also shared that where you could take a look at all the different CSMs from the principal, senior level, etc., from ICs to leadership, and hear their stories and connect the dots for yourself. That's kind of what Jenna and I have always talked about. We don't want to be the show to say, join AWS, join AWS, come. It's more like, here's what our experience is like. Here's what the guests will share, what they're learning, etc., and let you connect the dots to see if it's something that you want to be a part of, if that's what's missing in your life, professionally and personally. So again, plenty of CSM episodes, and you will find some level of commonality across them all. The other thing I want to again bring on is, let me just bring this up here. So make sure if you're on YouTube, make sure you are liking and subscribing to the channel. It's important. The channel has been growing since we've been going live, but the AWS Careers is very specifically focused to the career side of AWS. You get to see a lot of great videos from different builders and leaders, and hear their stories from short video formats to longer videos to really understand what the day in the life is like for them and what their experiences have been. Even about the affinity groups, if you're specifically interested in those. So there's plenty to take a look at. So if you're on Twitch, make sure you follow AWS Careers, and vice versa. If you're on YouTube, go to Twitch. Go to twitch.tv/AWS. There's so many great shows from other builders, from CSMs to the SAs to our principal developer advocates. Make sure you follow the channel and be notified by all the great shows that are on, where you can literally build live. You have SMEs, at your fingertips in those chat rooms, so take advantage. That's part of Learn and Be Curious. And people like Isaiah, as I mentioned multiple times before, he demonstrates that every day. Actually goes in, learns, and every other day I see him completing a new certification. And that's someone that's looking to switch their careers to get into AWS. But whether you want to come here or not, you're maybe looking at AWS from a technology standpoint, or maybe using it at your current organization, this is a great place to come in and learn from some of the incredible people here who we highlight. It's, again, the people. Everyone's willing to carve out the time and help share their expertise. So make sure you follow the AWS channels. So with that, parting thoughts, Padma. What's your experience like today? Just want to get your quick feedback.
Thank you very much for having me on this podcast. I'm grateful I got an opportunity to share my experiences and also share my personal journey. Thank you very much.
Thank you for
Very
coming.
inspiring. Thank you so much for sharing, helping us realize the power of perseverance and your passion for what you do. And you very quickly have acclimated to the Amazonian culture. So I wish you much success here, and I hope that your journey is many years long.
Thank you.
Likewise. As I mentioned, I was really excited for people to hear your story, because there's a lot of people that need to hear that story. There's a lot of people that were maybe in that dark space that you were in initially, right? And then look at where you are, and others can do it too. But you said something, only I can pull myself out of this. And it's true. And like what Jenna says, you put on the oxygen mask first. Like talking about flights, which I hate personally. It's my fear. I have a fear of flying, right? So with that, you got to do it for yourself first, and then help the others thrive. So Padma, again, absolute pleasure having you. Incredibly inspiring, and can't wait for others to hear your story. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. So Jenna, welcome back. Great to see you again. And thank you all. See you soon.
Bye-bye.